the opening address and introduction from the one and only lady who matters the most, the visionary, the one who truly leads from the front. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Bijoya Ghosh, founder and CEO at Gully Network. Please unke liye ho jaye zor se taali as I call her on stage for the opening address. And ma'am, jab tak aa rahi hai tab tak taaliyon ki gunj rukni nahi chahiye. Come on, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhaji. Thank you, as usual. Kind. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I welcome you all to our today's event, which is Welcome to Phoenix 2024. I stand here today to welcome you all to the inaugural edition of Phoenix Summit and Awards. We are proud to unveil this landmark event that marks the beginning of a new chapter for innovation, collaboration and excellence in the BFSI sector. We gather here today at a time of profound transformation. The BFSI sector in India is not just evolving, it is being reshaped by the powerful forces of technology, customer centricity and regulatory shifts. As we stand on the threshold of an era defined by AI, blockchain, data analytics and digital-first experiences, the way we envision and deliver financial services is being redefined every day. We have with us several distinguished speakers spread across dynamic panels who will be sharing insights on the BFSI sector and the factors that are driving the growth of this sector. The summit is where ideas meet action, where conversations spark solutions, and where innovation finds recognition. As the industry faces challenges in maintaining agility while ensuring security and compliance, we must continually ask ourselves, how can we stay ahead of the curve? How do we balance technological advancement with ethical responsibility? And most importantly, how do we meet the ever-rising expectations of the digitally empowered customer? It is these questions that we'll explore, debate and answer together over the course of the day. And beyond the panels, discussion and awards, this summit is about creating a community that believes in pushing boundaries and setting new standards for BFSI sector, for BFSI excellence. Pardon. To all the leaders, innovators and visionaries in this room, your dedication and pioneering spirit are shaping the future of financial services in India. I am confident that these ideas and collaboration born here today will resonate long after this event concludes. Let us make Phoenix not only a success but a cornerstone for future endeavors. Together, let's envision a brighter, smarter, and more inclusive future for the BFSI industry. Thank you and welcome to Phoenix 2024. Before I leave the stage, I want to thank all my sponsors who helped us in putting this event together. Most importantly, I want to thank my team who slogged and put it up together for us. Thank you, team. Thank you, everyone.
The first Fireside Chat, ladies and gentlemen, is about innovating financial inclusion, bridging the urban-rural divide. Ladies and gentlemen, this session is going to be chaired by Manas Gulati, co-founder and CEO ARM Worldwide, and it's going to be joined on stage by Abhishek Gupta, Chief Marketing Officer, Edelweiss Life Insurance. Can I please have all of you giving them a big round of applause, everybody.
And to start with the topic which has been given to us, while I lead an organization called ARM Worldwide into advertising and everything. This is very unique to me as well, the topic. And I'm really glad that it came up and it is something to ponder upon as well. We've been talking about financial inclusion, the rural-urban divide. And just to set the context right, we'll start with, hypothetically think of a guy called Mohan who is a farmer. And in 2019, there was a Pradhan Mantri Samman Yojana in which there are certain financial benefits which he was supposed to get, but he could not avail any of those, because of multiple reasons, be it financial literacy, be it lack of certain financial entities in and around the rural areas, and so on and so forth. Up until 2022, where actually the Aadhaar enablement actually came into place. Also, NPCI enabled a lot of financial transactions to happen in the rural areas. And this is something which happened in the rural segment, which was in a stark contrast with something which happened in the urban areas, in which in 2019, close to 6.1 billion transactions happened in 2019 through UPI, through online payments, and up until 2024, in which 16.8 billion transactions happened. So, we're seeing a stark difference and a huge urban and rural divide there, and which is something for us to ponder upon as well, because the growth of the entire nation, be it the farmers, be it the rural population, it has a great role to play in the overall, overall benefit of the country. So we'll start with that. Abhishek, like my first question to you is, what are the key disparities which you see between the urban and rural areas in terms of in terms of financial entities and inclusion, and what do you think are the things which are hampering it from happening as well?
Thank you, Manas. Before we go into this particular question, the point that we all should ponder and probably take in account is inaugural edition of Phoenix, and the inaugural topic is about the urban and rural, which itself talks about the importance of the rural market. Because urban market we all probably have experienced and we all this thing. It's rural market that kind of gets talked about but not acted upon. Start with a phrase और एक कहावत है, कहावत से start करता हूँ if everybody understands Hindi over here, and this is very true for India. India के लिए कहा जाता है, you can understand what I mean to say now. कोस कोस में बदले पानी, कोस कोस में बदले पानी, 20 कोस में बदले वाणी. So the moment you keep on moving from one place to another, the language, not the language so much, but the dialect changes. And the moment you travel some distance, first the kind of food and kind of pani jise kehte hain, and you travel a certain distance and the entire language changes. That is how India is. I come from the state of Rajasthan. Rajasthan mein itself are there so many languages, and within each languages there are so many dialects that one dialect cannot understand what the other dialect is saying. So that is what India is. And imagine yourself being a head of a company that you are going to launch in a country. Let's take an example, a country like France. So you want to launch a product in France. France के बगल में Switzerland है. The moment you decide your company grows and you want to go to Switzerland, you will obviously employ a different strategy, because what works in France will not work in Switzerland. Correct? Now come to India. India can take at least 35 of these countries. At least 35 of these countries. Such countries. So that means what we are saying is, it is impossible to look at India as a one when we are looking at the consumer. It is impossible to create your strategies when we look India as a one, because India is not one. There are multiple parts to India. So that we have to take in account, that India is not one. What works over here will not work if you just go 100 kilometers and go to Pune. Or अगर 100 kilometers चले जाओ तो वहाँ से बिल्कुल it will completely stop working. So that is there. Now coming to rural, and I'll come specifically being straight to the topic. I'll stick to BFSI as a category. And let me go a little more deeper, which is insurance as a category. What works in urban segment, and give you some data points. Our urban segment, our average ticket size is close to 1 lakh rupees plus. The same will not happen in rural part of the country. Because number one is the penetration of the product itself is fairly low. So when you are working on a product category where the penetration is low, you need to start offering them what we call as sachets. A sachet product. which anybody who's new to the category will first dip their feet in, understand the product, and then probably take a larger bet on that product. Unfortunately, what we try to do is, and even we are guilty of it, you create something for a larger market and you create a sachet version of the same thing and then try to offer it into the rural market. Unfortunately, that does not work. So, what is problem that we are facing currently? That's a problem and it's a challenge, and we all as a fraternity we face these challenges. How do I create products which are specifically meant for the rural market? And I want just one word of caution: don't understand rural as bottom of pyramid. They are not bottom of pyramid. Like in the urban market, there are people from the bottom of pyramid to the top of the pyramid. Same happens in the rural segment. We have ultra wealthy rural customers and we have customers who are at the bottom of pyramid. So as you would look for an urban market in terms of creating different products across different product customer categories depending upon your focus, the same needs to be done for rural. So don't confuse rural with lower end of the segment. That is number one. Number two is, yes, in terms of the mindset, they still have not been exposed to the kind of products that BFSI currently is offering, and especially the fintech players are offering. So what we need to do is create products which are tailored to the rural need. Which are absolutely tailored, which might not work in urban market but will work in rural markets. That is second. Third, and which most of the BFSI company completely tend to ignore, is the rural distribution works very different from urban distribution. The distribution channel which works for urban market is completely different, and rural it is more dependent on relationships, it is more works on trust. So the distribution channel is different. So as you would take time to understand the rural market, rural customer, take time to understand the rural distribution channel as well, because that is what sometimes gets missed.
Sure. So, what we're talking about is that, in the urban population as well, like there's a vernacular check-in which keeps on happening because the communication needs to be different as opposed to some, if something is there in Europe, and it's multiple countries, so the communication needs to completely change because of the cultural biases as well. So that's a complexity which comes in, and when we talk about rural, because of the lack of knowledge also and, certain lack of amenities, they're not able to avail those things. Which brings me to the next question, because of these, because these problems have existed over a period of time, and we know that, even the farmers and people who are in the rural segment would want to avail, say, an insurance or a micro loan or, something which is dependent upon the weather and otherwise as well. So, what do you think are the government policies and what has the government done over a period of time to enable these people in these segments? I want you to talk a little about that.
Government plays a huge role as a catalyst, and sometimes this catalyst also acts as somebody who is pushing you to do it through the ways of regulations, and therefore the role of the government is extremely important. I'll give an example over here. In insurance, the regulator, which is IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, has come up vision which is insurance for all by 2047. That is when we complete 100 years of independence, and that is when we should have insurance for all. We all know, I'm not going to go into figures now, we all know how penetration of insurance is and how that needs to be really, really worked upon. So with the intention of that every Indian by 2047 will have any kind of insurance, there's a push that has come from the regulator. But the work doesn't stop at just this thing that you need to do. So what the regulator now has done is, the entire country, there are 24 life insurance players in the country right now. So every life insurance player has been given one state or one union territory. Some people might have got two. And they have become the lead state insurer for that particular state. So let's take an example. For us, that state is Chandigarh. And Chandigarh, don't just look at Chandigarh as an urban city. There are villages around Chandigarh which actually form a huge and bulk of the population of the boundary of Chandigarh. So Our job in Chandigarh is to ensure that we go into every villages over there, promote insurance, do a lot of activities, take help of other insurance companies, but ensuring that the awareness of insurance goes ahead. That's the first step. And then once the awareness is up, try to get more and more people in the insurance fold. And while we are doing for Chandigarh, there are all insurers doing for all states like this. That's the first. Second step is, all of us have been given a list of villages which are different from Chandigarh. So for us, we have close to 100 villages that we have been allotted by the government. And the task is to go and sell insurance. And we have been given a target. 10% of the villages population, insurable population, needs to be insured in year 1. The year 1 is going on currently. With the overall vision still remains the same as insurance for all by 2047. And that is the push that the government is doing. And government is enabling this also. Government is pushing us, and government has created one product, which one product is available across all insurance companies, very simple to buy, because as I was saying earlier, you need to give sachet products to this consumer segment. It's actually a sachet product, very low premium. Since the premium is low, correspondingly some assured is appropriate according to the premium. But it gives a chance for that consumer to experience the category once, with the hope and belief that once you have dipped your feet in that category, probably you will then take a larger, or will do a dip in the pool at a later point of time. So government is doing a lot of stuff, and without government push, and I'll be very honest in saying this, without government push, probably we will continue going after the more lucrative market rather than going after the rural market, because currently we see urban as more lucrative right now, but in terms of the volumes that the rural market can give, that's humongous.
Sure. All right. So my next question is that we talk about financial products which are customized for the urban population. Are there any initiatives, to enable these things for the rural segment as well? And if they're there, then how is the entire BFSI segment and the financial segment and the financial products being customized for the rural customers?
So BFSI probably was one of the early entrants within the rural segment, and we probably do not understand what. There was a category called microfinance. Through that, BFSI sector had reached every village within this country. So microfinance institutions, MFIs, actually have managed to create a base for all of the BFSI players to completely, because what they have done is they have perfected the model. They have understood how this segment works. Now I'll tell you how typically does an MFI work. It works, number one, on relationship. There's somebody in the village who actually knows everybody in the village and who acts an agent or an intermediary of the financial company. And it is on the basis of trust imposed on that person is how the selling, or I might not selling, the consumption of the product happens. The first port of call is obviously always, and it has nothing to do with rural, it is to do with all as human as a consumer. It is easier to give money to someone to get money rather than get money. So MFSI started with loans. So they started offering small loans, secured and unsecured both, to this limited circle. And that is how the network effect started to come in, but that's how the base was built. So it's not that this category or this set of customers is new for the category. As an industry, we have understood how to sell or distribute products in rural segment. But we have not done a very good job of other than products like basic banking and some micro loans. How do I offer other products? Because there's always a laddering of product. You start with basic, which is a loan or a bank account, and then you start adding products over that. We have laddered, we have created a base for us. Probably what we as an industry need better. How do I ladder up more products which are tailored to this customer?
Correct. So if I draw a parallel to this, like one of the organizations which I was working on, was only looking at the metros and the tier one cities for probably giving out loans or credit cards and other things. And maybe this is like enablement for them as well. But what has happened is because of the majority of the market, because of the multiple players which exist in the market, now they started to focus on tier three as well. They've started to focus on certain rural segments as well. And this, I think, over a period of time, is enabling, the end mile when it goes to the rural players out there. And what has happened over a period of time, like while we talked about disparities, that there was like a lack of internet earlier, there was lack of certain tools like UPI and digital wallets and all of those things earlier. They have been enabled, but what still is lacking at certain places is digital literacy. People in the rural areas and farmers, they still are very iffy about using these certain products. But I think what's happening is because of certain NGOs and certain initiatives by the government, they're getting digitally literate. They're gaining that confidence to use these products. They're gaining that confidence in understanding more about, say, microloans, also about insurance as a segment, and that divide is slightly reducing over a period of time. So that's what is happening. And there are many initiatives by the government which we spoke about earlier, Pradhan Mantri Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana as well. All of these things are helping, in the end mile. And what the government is also doing is working with, regulators and institutions like yourself, and they're making sure that all parts of India are covered, not only the urban parts, but also the rural parts as well. And I think that's the way forward, and it is going in the right direction, at an overall level. So that's definitely something which has happened, and fintech is also, coming at the center space within them because of, of course, because of reliance and digital penetration which has happened. A lot of people are able to see, enablement videos and DIY videos on, say, YouTube and other things as well. And there is definitely, because of the reach which is created, after 2017, that thing has become very, very quick, in terms of the literacy of the rural population, and that's moving in the right direction. So, I think, that's something which has happened beautifully well, and because of the government initiatives, and of course, digital also has a big role to play in it. Like these days, like earlier, we had only things which could target probably metros and tier one cities, at a larger level. But because of the digital penetration, we are able to look at certain platforms to reach out to these customers, certain types of videos which are there, certain platforms which people access now. Not the popular platforms like YouTube and Instagram alone, but also other platforms which are there in the rural segments. Certain things like Share Chat, which is there, in the rural segment, through which people are sharing things more and more, getting digitally literate, and maybe getting enabled as well at a larger level. So that's something which is definitely happening. I would just also want you to speak a little about how like organizations like you, like certain definitive measures for digital literacy which would have come into the fore post when you look at rural sectors like this, some initiatives which your organization or probably peer organizations would have taken to make sure that digital literacy happens as well.
I agree with all that you said, Manas. Just one correction, or probably a modification is, it's our belief that the digital penetration or the digital products penetration is low in rural, because it stems from the thought कि जो हमने urban population के लिए develop किया था, same rural population will adopt. It is not going to. We have to create products, we have to create services, we have to create channels specific to rural segment. And let's not put them both in the same parameters, that because an Instagram Reels or something works very well over here and uska adoption is low in rural segment, because that product is not meant for rural segment. The rural segment needs a separate product. I don't remember the name. A particular company had developed an FM only dedicated to rural segment, and that was doing very well. Okay, so therefore the need is to develop products rather than saying that the digital adoption is very low in these markets. Government push, especially with opening of those accounts, and then now with coming to fees like PMJJY and the insurance at 12 rupees, which is given to everyone, have created a lot of penetration in the segment, and that needs to be done. As far as what companies like us are doing, so many times we, and I'm again being very honest over here, many times we actually have been forced to go down that path because of government push and regulations push. But as we have gone to the markets, we have realized the power that is there. Let me give you an example over here. For us, if I just take one market which is very big for us and probably will come under our top 5 or top 10 markets, that market is Kolhapur. Life insurance, high ticket items. Kolhapur is a very lucrative market for us. We sell huge amount of insurance. Our top state in performance, it is obviously because of the distribution, but top state for us in terms of contribution is Kerala. We do close to 15% of our business from Kerala market. So it is not like this that there is market is not available. Probably we have not understood the market enough to offer our products and services to them. So given the success that we have found in markets like Kolhapur, markets like Nasik itself, we should not call it rural, but I am talking about our business doesn't normally come from only Nasik urban customers, it also comes from Nasik rural customers. So one thing that we have understood very clearly is, which is borrowing from the MFI business, that you need to have your distributors from that place. The distributor needs to come out from that community, from that geography, because people like to buy from people like themselves. And therefore, our effort is to create more of, in fact, I just got a message from one of our biggest advisors, his name is Datta. I just got a mail from him about something, and therefore it's a good contextual point over here. Datta manages the Kolhapur area for us, and he does business which we have never even heard of coming from cities like Mumbai. But why? Because Datta comes from that market. Datta understands that people over there. Datta understands how he can tailor his communication. How he can tailor his communication for that particular market. So what we are trying to do is to find more Dattas. One Datta of Kolhapur, probably I need one Datta in Nasik, probably one more Datta in Rajmundry and other areas, probably more across the country. I need more of these Dattas. The moment we have this in place, business will follow. So if you ask me, one agenda that probably we should do is we should try to enable distribution points within these markets so that the penetration improves.
We're saying that, create the local influence.
Absolutely.
Able to cut through the cultural nuances and then talk to them in their language. And probably that's when the actual push will happen and people will get onto the benefit.
That is actual influencer marketing for that.
Is actually influencer marketing. Great. I think with that we'll end this discussion and a lot of wonderful inputs in terms of the government initiatives. Also, how do we create local influence in specifically a language of a specific state or a dialect, and reach out to those people, make them understand the products much better, maybe customize them, depending upon the segment. If it's the farmers, something for farmers. If it's for the regular trade, it's for regular trade. Customize it and then reach out to people. Probably will get you better penetration and better business. Largely that. Great. Thank you so much.